political, basically. I'm not that optimistic. That's the problem. It's a very, and doing this myself, I say because I'm in this situation. I know. Oh, there's like undercover, yeah, they're all underground. The problem is that doesn't help. They don't want their names associated. They don't do fundraisers. They don't do anything to help people. So it's like, okay, maybe I get your vote. A lot of them don't even live in the districts. They live in Long Island. Like, why would that? Like, until you're willing to do right. That's the problem. It takes a certain type of that's what I'm saying. Like, it's not even the idea.
Yeah.
Right now, yes. Of course. No. Thank you. Press?
Yes. New York one.
New York. Oh, you're New York one. Okay, great. Paul Graziano.
Are you
gonna have a big crowd behind you?
Yes.
We're gonna all be standing here. It just seems close.
It works.
It
So we did it in June. It's tight. The city hall in the back.
Yes, and we found it.
We made it. Hey. Perfect.
Hi.
You? How you doing?
Yes, good. How are you?
Good.
Thank you.
Very good.
Is this part of your work?
No.
Oh, okay.
But this is scary what they do.
You're against the city of Yes?
If you talk to real estate owners, what's happening? There's a lot of towns here. They're just keeping it open. That's the reality. I mean, you can look at the rent rolls. And the reason they're doing that is because the property taxes are stacked, which is the way you run the city. Is the property taxes.
Yep.
I mean, they're trying to say it's not. There's a lot of things. I mean, you can always use additional compensation. What's the problem? The existing housing stock is now intentional because they're taking it as a loss rather than keeping it available for a profit.
So then when would they ever put it back on the market?
When it becomes advantageous for you to do it, because it's a way of trying to drive down I've interviewed like property taxes, maintenance, insurance, utilities.
Yeah. Wait, doing good, man. Wait, flip it over, please. Flip it over. Flip it over. Wait. Please look up. Lift yours up. Dimple, lift yours up. Lift yours up, please. Like that. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4. Got 4. Got it. Thank you.
And that's why there's also development, because there's no incentives. I mean, this is not, I'm not a developer, and I'm not, like the net, and then they do things like this and don't give you a full amount, like, this is really
Do you think that this will pressure the real estate people to put those back online?
if the real estate people are saying, you know what, I can't afford it. Let me give you an example. There was a company that every week they have the fires on. Every week they get $1,000. Something wrong. Like, I'll give you an example. They had a program that was supposed to run the fire at 60, hit the fire alarm, they wanted to catch it. Put it to the guys. And then they got the button. And because they didn't fire, they fined $1,000. When you test it, the operators, we have a fire organization minister without we operate testing. It's just things like that. And when you do that, they have to figure out a way to fight that. You take over the launch. You take like Rock Horse Development. That's a big development. So they have a lot. So you have one property that's making a lot of money, right? You have another one that's that's a big unit. So if that's $70,000 a year unit, let's just say, and you put that against your $50 million property, so you go, that's how it works. It's a building management. Yeah, because why aren't they? This is the city, and then
I'm independent media. Thank you.
I would still rather do that.
But their emphasis is big. So if they were able to build some sort of so they were in the city likes to say that it's the greedy development. But
I told Gillibrand's office.
it's gone from small now it's the way that they keep shooting up there because that's the way they operate the city. Now
I mean, that was 8 years ago.
but it's not fair to convert it. Good, you?
Where are you from?
Cards are so antiquated.
Welcome. I like it. The sad part is this whole story is making a much story.
That's true. I'm
I'm an attorney. I'm doing land use 21 years. I listen to stories on TV, radio. I'm like, what are they talking about? Even city planning and that is all, they're not telling the truth, what they're doing. And the city council's like going along with it. Well, they're all on the same page then. Pretty bad.
Wow.
No, my tripod leg is just in a weird spot. So we got those.
What's up, man? Doing good, man.
Sorry, I'm just taking a picture.
It'll go as high as you.
Yeah, I've never had a new.
Everybody who's with us, please come over here.
Oops, sorry.
Yeah.
Can I see your sign, sir? Can I see that sign?
That's true.
Testing, testing. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay, good.
Right, 1 second.
Ready?
还没开始，来正好。
It's a little touchy here.
你来的正好。
Okay. Are we ready, everybody? All right. Thank you, everybody, for coming. My name is Paul Graziano. I'm an urban planning, historic preservation, zoning, land use consultant. I am the co-founder of SaveOneFamilyNewYork.org. I've been affiliated with the Queen Civic Congress for decades, and I work with a lot of civic groups, a lot of whom, how many people here are in a civic and homeowner group? Okay. So we have a coalition now of over 200 organizations across the city of New York, representing hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people. It's probably over 1 million at this point, based on the people who are standing here today. And we want the council to understand this, that this isn't about a couple of people who are concerned about their single-family home, which is always minimized by the chair of the City Planning Commission, for example, Dan Garodnick, or about a particular corner of a block on the city. This is about the entire city, and this is about a plan that is going to destroy New York City. This is not a plan that's going to help our communities. I think the tagline is just a little more housing in every neighborhood, right? It's great propaganda. It's great. Whatever public relations firm came up with that got a nice fat bonus when they wrote that. But it's not reality. The reality is that we don't have a housing crisis. We have an affordability crisis. These are two very different things. We actually have more housing today. There's a couple of statistics for the press here. We have the same population today that we did in 1960. Our population in the city has dropped 800,000 people in the last 6 years. We are below 8 million people for the first time since 1990. Okay? So we have lost an enormous number of populations. Some of it has to do with affordability, but some of it has to do with people moving, getting jobs, getting married, and doing all kinds of other normal things that don't have to do with affordability. I don't want to minimize the issue of affordability, but it's not just about that. We have 800,000 more units of housing than we did in 1960. 800,000 more units. We just found out that we have 150,000 units that have been approved to be built without the city of Yes, by 2028. I didn't make this number up. This came out in the real estate rags a few months ago. So if we have 150,000 units already online to be built without the city of Yes, and that was only for the first half of the year, where are we going to be after this quarter is announced, and the quarter after that, and the quarter after that? The city of Yes is aiming to give developers everything they want. It is a plan by developers for developers, and any of you can see that if you'd like to look at the report that I wrote and released a few days ago. It's very clear that the very people who wrote this document, not my document, the document called the Get Stuff Built List by the Blast Committee, are the very people who are in collusion with Mayor Adams, who we should not ignore is under indictment for taking straw donations from real estate people, whether they are in the United States or not. Okay? You cannot divide the city of Yes from Mayor Adams. It is part and parcel of the same thing. Corruption doesn't stop because there are some people on the city council that have it in their mind that it's a good idea. So I'm going to talk more as we go on, but I want to introduce my first speaker. We're going to have some electeds filtering in as we're going on here, because they're giving testimony right now at the city council. They're asking questions of Dan Garodnick and other people. So the first speaker is going to be Warren Schreiber, a man of many affiliations, the president of the Queens Civic Congress, and please mention your other affiliations and the people that you represent.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Mike. I'm Warren Schreiber. I am the president of the Queens Civic Congress. We represent 70 civic organizations in Queens. I am also the longtime past president of the Bay Terrace Community Alliance, and we represent 10,000 shareholders, and I am the co-president of the President's Co-op and Condo Council, and we represent 100,000 owners. First thing I want to say, in light of the recent allegations of corruption that have been brought against the mayor and some other city agencies, the city of Yes is a tainted application that must be rejected. Yes. To the city council members, my message is, at the end of the day, when all of this is done and you leave office, all you're going to have is your reputation and your legacy. And you know what your legacy is going to be if you vote to support this? Your legacy, there's going to be an asterisk next to your name. Right? And when people look that up, there's going to be a note saying that you voted for this tainted application. Today or tomorrow, when you testify, we're going to hear people who are supporting the city of Yes. Don't let them fool you. Those people, they are lobbyists. They are developers. They're getting paid to testify. They profit from the city of Yes. So don't let them dissuade you, and don't listen to them at all. Just remember, they're not like us. We're all volunteers. They're getting paid, and many of them are getting paid really big salaries. Really big salaries. Also, let's talk about hypocrisy. There are city council members who they say that they will never take campaign contributions from developers. But they'll vote for the city of yes. Well, what's the difference? You might as well just put your hand out and take the contribution. Absolutely. This is terrible, terrible legislation. And city council members, if you can hear me, you're eliminating your own jobs. What are you doing? You're eliminating your jobs. The most important thing you do is land use. If you take that away, what are you going to do? Name park benches? Right? We don't have to pay you. We don't have to pay. I don't know, what do we pay them now? $150,000 a year. And how many of you are members of community boards? Okay. You know what? You might as well resign now. You don't have to wait to be term limited, because there's going to be nothing for you to do. There is no more ULERP. There will be no more ULERP. And so, I mean, I think I have 6 more years left on my community board. CB7, I could just leave now. You know, it makes me dead. Nothing for me to do. So, hello, Vicky. City council members, hello, 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 hello. So, I want to thank everybody for being here. I want to thank Paul for all the work that he does. And remember, say no, say no, say no, say no, say no.
Thank you, Warren. Okay, so we're gonna deviate from the list because we have electeds here. So the first person I'm gonna call up is Vicky Palladino. I would ask for brevity. Keep it short. We got a ton of people, but thank you, Vicky.
Thank you very much. All right, good afternoon, everybody. And we all know why we're here, and we all see how well we are represented. Okay, we all want to say no to the radical changes of the city of yes. Now, if they want to build, they could build, but what we have to understand here is not one district is like another. Everything is different. This is not a one-size-fits-all. Ask yourself the question, why are they ramming this down our throats like a freight train? Why are we looking down at December, I think it's 6th, for a possible vote on this? Now, this is how fast. Ask yourself why. When I sat in chambers earlier today, what amazed me was all this information. It was a book this big that most of us really just got. So if you just got it and you're sitting like us, we're lay people, what do we know from building and all of this? And all we know is they're going to take that gorgeous building down and put something else up. They don't look at these buildings with any respect whatsoever, which really surprised me. If it's old, it's got to go, or it will go. Your religious institutions, if they're not easily funded, which they are not anymore these days, they have the ability to take them down and sell those. This goes way beyond. Most important of all, tomorrow is the open hearing for all of you. So while you all are here today, and we greatly appreciate it, your voice will mean nothing on a Zoom. Your written statement will go in the garbage. It means nothing. Show up. You must show up. You must sign up to speak. If you do not do this, and you do not come out the way you should come out, this thing is going. And there's no question in my mind. They've already got numbers on that to go. So I'm just telling you, show up, be heard, otherwise you've got no complaining to do. Okay, thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you so much, Vicky. Appreciate it. Our next council person who's here is Joanne Areola, and she represents the south part of Queens. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you for all the effort you put. Much better. Thank you, Paul. Thank you for all the effort you've put into this. Thank you to the Queens Civic Congress for having the foresight to partner with Paul to make sure that all the community boards were made aware of what was going to happen, because certainly there wasn't outreach by the administration until Paul started to do his outreach. Then all of a sudden we saw Department of City Planning coming out. But each and every time they came out, it got worse. It didn't get better. We have in my district, all the community boards voted against it. In the borough of Queens, out of 14 community boards, only 2 voted for it. The borough president put in conditions. We don't have any of the infrastructure that's needed for this type of development. District 32 is a coastal and inland flood zone. We cannot support this. We're literally sinking. We have so many units that are empty right now, we would not have to build another unit. We could just fill the ones we have. But you'll hear propaganda from the left and from the administration telling you that there are polls taken and that people want this. People don't want it. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here today. No. There may be places in the borough that want this, whether it's Manhattan, whether it's in Queens, in Woodside, and in Long Island City, but not the bedroom communities in my district, like Bell Harbor, Neponset, Rockaway Beach, Broad Channel is exempt, Howard Beach, Ozone Park, Woodhaven, Glendale. These are 1 and 2 family homes. People moved there because they wanted suburbia in the middle of an urban setting. And we do not want that to change. This is being forced by the developers. This is the developers' city of yes. This is not the people's city of yes. So I say take your city of yes, city of mess, city of whatever you want to call it, and say no.
No. Okay, next up, Joe McAllister. Joe McAllister is the president of South Beach Civic Association in Staten Island, and also the president of the Staten Island Civic United, which is a coalition of several dozen civic associations. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you, everybody, for coming out here today. You know, the time that we spend, our hours, our quality value of time, that we're here fighting for something that we shouldn't have to be fighting for. This should have never happened, never should have came about. Right now, it's a plan that they put together that nobody just sat down and speak with the residents, the homeowners of Staten Island or any of the boroughs. The only people they went to were the business areas, so Staten Island Economic Development Board, Staten Island Chamber of Commerce. They didn't sit down with anybody else. What are we doing? Why do we have to deal with this? We're standing here today listening to all the horse honking, the fire, the police, the sirens, the noise, the pollution that are out here. This is already what's happening in Staten Island on Highland Boulevard, Richmond Avenue, Forest Avenue. It doesn't get any better. We do not have the infrastructure to handle what is happening today. And yet you want to shove more houses, more development, more apartment buildings, more people into the communities that we can't handle. Let's talk about an educational have a sit-down situation, educational sit-down with people that know what they're doing, what they're talking about, and see what we actually need before we change anything in Staten Island or the other boroughs. This is something important that you need to do first. The infrastructure with the fire, the police, the sanitation, the hospitals, the schools, the doctors, everything comes down the line. Our city services. They want to have building department. They're saying that the building department will be able to go and inspect all these houses, new incomes, these new buildings. What buildings inspectors? We don't have any right now that can handle it. Everybody's self-certified architects. A self-certified architect is signing off on the prints, for the blueprints. What is that doing? Please, we need help here. We got to stop this madness. Stop it now. Everybody, redo this whole plan, trash it. Sit down with us and let's have it the proper way to do things. Thank you. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
My next speaker is Aracelia Cook. Aracelia Cook is from the South Ozone Civic Association, 149th Avenue.
149 South Ozone Park Civic Association. And we are all here, some of my members are over here, and we are here to say no to the city of yes. We've been saying that so much. So we did a robocall. Remember Tanya Cruz from Cambridge Heights, we did a robocall to the state telling them that we did not want this. That it was dead, it was killed. So then, last year, next thing you know, all of a sudden, here it comes deja vu with them putting it back on the ballot and shoving something else against down our throats. We have to be instrumental in our communities and realize that, you know what, we don't have to take this. For me, you can't tell me to shut up because you know why? I'm retired. You can't touch my Social Security, so I'm going to be out here in full force. Now, with that said, Mr. Mayor, you know what you need to do. Already go kill this bill. There are so many other things that needs to be done to address the housing crisis. It is not with you building more homes on top of the other. Another thing, how about us seeing an engineer report for each of our boroughs to see what the infrastructure pipeline looks like under the ground? Because we had asked for that when we had the sewage situation in Southeast Queens. We wanted to see how come this house got hit, that house didn't get hit. How are these pipes running underground? No one wants to talk about that. No one wants to talk about that they're not even inspecting these systems. So if you're not inspecting these systems now, what do you think's gonna happen later on? Look, people, wake up, come on, get it together, let's kill this bill. If you really want to help, let us do our own thing. Thank you. Kill this bill. Kill this
Thank you,
bill.
Araceli.
Kill this bill.
I want to mention, just a personal thing. I live in Flushing, and I live on a street that's 52 feet above sea level. Until 5 years ago, my 100-year-old house never, ever flooded. Never once in 95 years. Starting 5 years ago, with the change in rainfall, with a lot of development around my block, now all of a sudden, I've flooded 3 times this year. During Ida, I got 14 inches of water in my basement, and my parents got 3 feet of water in their basement, and I have never flooded until 5 years ago. So I know what it's like in Southeast Queens, where they've been flooding for decades. And now it's getting worse and worse and worse. So the idea that today, Dan Garodnick got up and said, oh, we're working very closely with the DEP. They've signed off on all of this stuff. They think it's great.
Big lie. Let's see the capacity report.
The DEP works for the mayor. The Department of City Planning works for the mayor. The Landmarks Commission works for the mayor. The Department of Transportation works for the mayor. Every agency is controlled by one person, Mayor Adams. And we should not be taking Mayor Adams' word for anything right now. Absolutely. Next up, I got a tag team here. Bernadette Ferrara and Laura Spalter, both from the Bronx, both from large coalitions in the Bronx. Bernadette?
Thank you, everybody. We have in the Northeast Bronx, just in the Northeast Bronx, we've got over 10, 11 civic associations, of which I am a president of one. But I'm also a long time resident of that area. That's Van Ness, Morris Park, Pelham Gardens, Pelham Parkway, and it goes on and on. 2/3 of our community are low density. Do we want the city of yes? Hell no. No way. No way. We have to say no. With the city council, they are either with their communities or they're with the developers. There's no gray area. So city council people, however you vote, your constituents will be watching. And they will be seeing this and remembering this when you go up for re-election. Remember that. You either voted with us or you voted for the developers. And many of us want to have our low density. We've got history. My particular community was established in 1853. So we have long history, architecture, characteristics, as many other hundreds of other communities basically represented here and in the Northeast Bronx. So just say no to the city of yes. Thank you.
No, 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 no.
Okay, we're going to preempt this slightly because another council member has shown up. Robert Holden.
So much, and thank you for all the work you do. It's amazing. It's amazing. Your public enemy is #1. For the people in there.
Earned as a badge of honor.
But thank you all. Now, I'm in that hearing with City of Yes, City of BS, actually. But, you know, the chair just said, Grodnick just said, because we talked about flooding in our districts. We talked about the electrical grid being inadequate. I leave the city in blackouts. 30-mile-an-hour wind knocks me out for power. We had a power outage last February. I switched over to electric heat. That was a disaster. All right, I had to go back to gas. So this is how bad this is. The City of Yes is ill-planned. It's a gift for developers. You know what Rodnick just said? Because we're going to leave the requirement, the parking requirement, up to the developers. Can you imagine that? Well, we've had certain districts, we have no parking. They're parking at hydrants. What do we do? Well, if the developer builds it without any parking, he's not going to be able to sell it. Are they kidding? This is a gift wrap thing for the developers. Gift wrap. They gift wrap. This is how bad this is. We fought against this, by the way. We fought against basement apartments in the 90s, 2000s. And what are they doing? They're legalizing. How many people died, by the way, Hurricane Ida? 13 people died, 11 were in basements. And Hurricane Ida. 8 were from my district. And this is what they're doing. Let's legalize it. And you know what they just said? It's not going to be that bad for your district. That bad. This is. I have to go back in because I'm up in a few more council members. Yeah, no, it's the first round.
Oh, first round.
I didn't get to the first round.
Okay.
Wow.
So I got to run back. We had other people ask my questions just in case. Okay. But I'm going back to confront Rodnick because this is, again, we want an investigation. Because this administration came up with this plan. We know it doesn't pass the smell test. We know that.
Right.
There's corruption involved here, guaranteed. And the developers are leading it. Thank you so much.
One request, Bob. At the beginning of the hearing, he had to swear in and swear that he was going to tell the truth. The whole truth and nothing but the truth. Has he been telling the truth? Not at all. What happens if you commit perjury?
You'll be indicted. And again, a lot of these people should be indicted because this doesn't, like I said, this is a scam. This is really a scam for everyone who wants to feel the sun in their backyard. They want to feel, we don't want to live in a neighborhood like this. It's okay, but I wanted to live in a low-rise neighborhood. I don't want ADUs interfering with us and really affecting our quality of life, affecting our schools, affecting our transportation. This is going to happen, guaranteed. And it's, according to the chair, not that bad, really. Because you don't live there, and you don't, we bought homes there, and this kind of neighborhood, we didn't buy homes in a very crowded district like this. I don't want to live in New York City, I don't want to live in Manhattan. I want to live in Queens, and I want to live in a low-rise district. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I just want to note for the press that Chair Grodnick lives in a $2.4 million co-op on 70th Street in Central Park West in a historic district. And guess what? His apartment isn't going to be affected by this. Just for people to know. Okay? Let's go. Laura Spalter. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Laura Spalter. I'm a resident 50 years in Riverdale in the Bronx and a member of my community board, past community board 8 chair. My own civic group is the Broadway Community Alliance, and we are affiliated with Protect Bronx Neighborhoods Against Overdevelopment. We formed that a year ago. We asked Paul to come out and speak to many communities and neighborhoods, Wakefield, Woodlawn, the East Bronx. We have over 30 communities, and we are united in our opposition to City of Yes. earlier I was in City Hall listening to Commissioner Garodnick, watching my blood pressure as lies. No, we're not affecting ULURP. The council will not affect, will not be losing any of their influence. And I'm texting my own councilman who's with us, saying, you know what, in a low-density neighborhood where currently apartment buildings are prohibited that are now going to be as of right, yes, you're usurping ULURP. So that's a lie. Oh, we work with communities, when in fact we know it was the Blast Commission, all these lobbyists, all these people who are paid to do this. This whole foundation is one of lies. And all I could say is keep the pressure on all the council people. I know in the Bronx, we're meeting one-on-one with as many council people as we can, and we're laying out issues that affect the whole Bronx, because we have a lot of low-lying areas, a lot of flooding, that like Queens, and we're all in the same boat. We're surrounded by water. So I applaud everybody who's here today. Tomorrow's hearing has to be a blowout, and let's say no.
One no. We aren't just representing low-density neighborhoods. We have a lot of mid-density and high-density neighborhoods that are standing with us as well. This is not about low-density versus high-density. That's the argument that Dan Garodnick would like to make. That it's, oh, these low-density people, they just don't want density. This is going to affect every community because it's a plan by developers for developers. And I do want to mention owner-occupied housing, which makes up 31% of the city, will be most affected. This is about replacing owner-occupied housing with market rate and luxury rental units. And just to give you that number, we have 3.7 million units of housing in the city of New York. That's 1.2 million units of owner-occupied housing. That's about 2.5 to 3 million people live in those units. So you're going to disenfranchise millions of people to satisfy your donors and your developer friends? Not on my watch, not on the watch of the people here. Next, we have Price Olivier from the Concerned Citizens of Laurelton. Thank you, Price.
Thank you, Paul. About 30 years ago, I moved to a nice community, low-density community in Southeast Queens called Laurelton. After 5 years, I noticed that the developers wanted to change my zoning from one or to two family to make them more high density community. We got the help of Paul Gaziano 25 years ago. He helped us downzone our community. And we thought we were in peace. But all of a sudden, we have the city of yes coming, which is, to me, is a scam on us. And we know what we say about scam to scammers. No. And we should say no to them. Now really, because this is crazy. If we want an high-density neighborhood, we can move someplace over here or some other place. We should be left alone. Low-density community, bed and breakfast community, we live there and we stay there. Hello? Okay? We should do that. And Paul, thank you very much for helping us.
Next up, we have Yatin Chu from the Asian Wave Alliance.
Thank you very much, Paul. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Yatin Chu. I'm a homeowner in Whitestone, Queens, and I'm also president of Asian Wave Alliance. Asian Wave Alliance represents the interests of thousands of residents, property owners, and voters throughout the district. I speak for my friends and my neighbors who are outraged at the mayor's blanket proposals that will destroy our communities. My parents bought their humble home in Whitestone in 1979. That's where I grew up. A little plot of land, 40 by 100, with excellent schools, a little front yard, and a street of kind and generous neighbors. Asian New Yorkers, like my parents, seek to own their American dream by buying a house. We have the highest rate of home ownership, and we mostly settled in the outer boroughs of Queens, Brooklyn, and Staten Island now. Most of us as immigrants pour our life savings into our home to put down roots in our community, a nest egg for retirement, and maybe pass it down to our children, the American dream of building generational wealth. Most of us have a small home, front yard, backyard, good schools for our kids as a path for social mobility. Not only will the city of Yes throw uncertainty of property values, but most pressing is how the ill-conceived plan will degrade our quality of life in 1- and 2-family zone neighborhoods. It's absurd that the city of Yes has eliminated the parking requirements. Anyone who drives in the outer borough of Queens and Brooklyn knows how parking is in such scarcity. Whether you're in Bayside, Flushing, Bensonhurst, Gravesend, many people are living in multi-generational homes now. And in transportation deserts in these areas, we need our cars to move around. In Queens, we cannot support more developments around LIR stations or subway stations. The parking is near impossible to find now. Even if you can get on a train to commute to work, you still need your car to drop off your kids at school, to buy groceries, to get to the hospital. We oppose the dangerous legalization of ADUs. Basement apartments, garage conversions, backyard houses. These illegal ADUs are already a huge problem for many residential areas. There are thousands of unchecked illegal dwellings already, and the passing of the City of Yes will make this problem so much worse. The congestion and infrastructure demands in these lower density areas cannot be supported without some major investment in sewer lines, electrical capacity, road work, and essential services like schools, police departments, fire departments, and hospitals. As a public school mom, I know the class size law that was just passed is going to require a lot of new buildings being built to support this law. In school districts in Queens and Brooklyn, we cannot accommodate more students that are zoned for their local schools now. How can we support more families moving into these neighborhoods without any provision for these basic essential services? Lastly, we are a city made up of hundreds of unique neighborhoods. Each neighborhood and community should be respected for our unique composition, our concerns, and not gentrified in favor of developer interest. Asian Wave Alliance opposes the City of Yes. We urge the City Council to reject the entirety of this harmful package of proposals from Mayor Adams. Say no.
Thank you. So one of the big lies that the Adams administration has stated over and over is that the reason they're doing this is for racial justice. Now, and that it's white homeowners that are the ones who are protesting.
And where he lives in that 1.2 million place is 75% Caucasian.
There you go. I would say there's a pretty diverse group of folks here from all over the city, and we represent the city. And so I just want to throw that out there, that we're tired of the lies and the propaganda and the gaslighting. And that's part of the reason we're here today, and that's why we're telling the council, as several people have already said, if you vote for this, not only are you done, but the consequences are going to be severe. Next up is Reverend Thorbs. She is the chair of Community Board 12 in Queens. Come on up, Reverend Thorbs.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. I'm happy to be here amongst the community. We're here not just for one thing, but for everyone. We are here to support all our communities. This should be a wake-up call to all of us. To all of us. We cannot go back into our silos ever again. We cannot go into our neighborhoods and shut our doors. But when we hear something that's going on in one neighborhood, we need to reach out to find out what's going on and what can we do. When it happens to one, it happens to all. You today, me tomorrow. Me today, you tomorrow. Never again, not in my backyard. It doesn't happen here. No, we can't even think like that any longer. We have to work together. This city of yes, if it has done anything, it has brought us together. And it makes us understand how much we need each other. We have to fight together. We have to stand shoulder to shoulder. No, we may not always agree, but we do have a foundation, our quality of life, our homes, our families. So no to the city of yes, no to this mayor, no to our elected officials who are signing on to this. We'll see you again at the polls. We will see you again at the polls. You will not be able to do this and then push on and go to the next level. You will not be forgotten. We are not going to forget you.
Vote them out.
Well said.
Vote them out. Vote them out. Vote them out.
Next up is Paul DiBenedetto. He is the chair of Community Board 11 in Queens. Thank you, Paul, and thank you, our electeds, for coming out today, all the great civic people, and Paul Graziano for the work he's done. He's been done so much. He's overworked, but there's a lot to do, right? Okay, so I'll tell you a few things. So the problem with City of Yes, there's many problems with it, of course, but the little one. How did she get But one of the major problems, that's nice. One of the major problems with it, it's an omnibus bill. It seeks to do all these things at one time, so many things. It came before us. There was 3 parts to City of Yes. The first part we passed. The second part was very problematic. Was it 1,300 pages?
1,127.
There you go, 1127. Doesn't miss a number. And then, that's right. And then City of Yes, Housing Opportunity, how many? 1,386 pages. Now you come to a community board, okay? These are all volunteers who got onto these community boards to represent their community. You come to them with 3,000 pages, if you count all 3 of them together, right? More than 3,000 pages, okay? And expect people just to say yes to it because of the way that you phrase it, okay? But this man went ahead and dug into it, and others in the city dug into it and found out that it's a big scam and a big lie, okay? So, if you want to, let me tell you about what happened in the 2000 aughts and the 2010s. I'm just going to talk about Queens, okay? Is that the Bloomberg administration came to us, okay? Came to the community boards and said, we want to rezone where you live. But they came to us that we were all as partners, okay? And this happened through most of Queens, okay?
And large parts of the city.
And large parts of the city, thank you, Paul. They came to us, instead of what we have now, we have this top-down Robert Moses type of zoning, okay? Throwing the crumbs at the street and say, eat the crumbs, you know? That's not how we live. That's not how we represent it, okay? Thank you, makes me so angry. The community board, okay, once again, if something came before our community board that was going to affect another neighborhood, okay, wouldn't hurt us, but would affect them, I would never say yes to it. I would never let it get past our community board because we're not here to legislate, okay, or to create things that are going to hurt other neighborhoods. So City Council, I hope you're listening, because if you vote yes for this and you diss my neighborhood, okay, and you knock out my 120-year-old house that I've been living in for 40 years almost at this point, okay? You take that away from me so they can build a 4-story apartment building, and I'm coming for you. I'm gonna find out where you live. I'm gonna support the person who's running against you, okay? Dan Garodnick, as Paul said, he lives in the historic district. He's safe. His nice little place where he lives cannot be touched because it's big place he lives cannot be touched. Dan Garodnick also became semi-famous for writing a book about saving his neighborhood. Right? What was it called? Saving Stuytown, okay? So it's okay to save Stuytown, but let's give it to the other communities, right? No thank you, buddy. Okay. There was a change in the rent control laws that dramatically affected housing in New York City. It was probably done for good reasons, but as everything else, done for good and exposes the bad.
maybe 100,000 apartments in New York City that are vacant right now, that people should be living in. So why doesn't the city council take care of that? And there's not, and one more thing about COI, there's not one single element in City of Yes that works. Every one of them, I would say, sure, negotiate this thing, make it better. But there's nothing good in it. There's not one thing I could say that's good about it. It doesn't create affordable housing. It doesn't do that. They kind of paint it as, has nothing in there, just about nothing in there for affordable housing, okay? And lastly, our neighborhoods in Eastern Queens, I'm just going to speak for Eastern Queens, but this is citywide. We are as diverse as any part of the city. Just because I live in a single-family house doesn't mean my neighbor is, Caucasian. No, I live in a mostly Asian American neighborhood. To the south of me are South Asian neighborhoods from people who came from Pakistan originally or India. And south of that, African American people who moved there during the 50s and 60s from maybe not the best neighborhoods and got their houses there, okay? And they got a piece of the American dream. 400 years of slavery, of Jim Crow laws, of a really poor existence, they finally get something, and Mayor Adams, who's from Southeast Queens, wants to take away their houses. Get rid of this, come back to us as partners in the community, and we will get it done. Thank you, Paul. Shame on you. Shame on you. Shame on you. So, just a couple of corrections. There's over 320,000 vacant apartments in the city. Many of them rent stabilized. They are being kept off the market by large landlords. They are being kept off the market, okay? You also have a few other people who are warehousing. You have rent stabilized apartments that have been removed, and et cetera, et cetera. So I just wanted to correct that. We have one more main speaker here, Steve Barrison. Steve Barrison.
Hey everyone, Channel 2, you shouldn't go because I'm the highlight of the event. I'm going to tell you the truth. This is the big lie. And when we hear a lie, we say, no! In Queens, we say, no! In the Bronx, we say, no! Down in Rockaway, we say, no! In Staten Island, we say, no! In Brooklyn, we say, no! Okay, media, this is for the media, even though you're leaving CBS. I've been doing this for 41 years. First thing, this is for one thing. You hear it on the news every single day. What does the media say? We need more housing, right? Every day. They're over there behind us in City Hall. Oh, we got to have more housing. We have a housing crisis. We don't have enough places to live. As you heard others say, there is plenty of housing. There's 100,000 in one location. You heard them talk in Queens. There are tens of thousands in private units. There are boarded up houses, private houses, multifamily dwellings all over the city that are vacant. If you don't believe me, start doing your research. I'm an attorney in real estate. I know exactly what's going on. Second, we can build 5 million new units right now without changing a word in the zoning. You hear that, media? You hear that, everyone out there? You hear that when you're reporting on this great hearing that's happening today, which is a scam, and tomorrow the people, they're not even going to listen to us, but show up, make noise. The most important thing to know is it's not about housing, it's not about you and me, it's about what it's always been about, RIBNY, Real Estate Board of New York. This is the final sellout of New York City. Don't kid yourself. This is citywide, it's everywhere. This will change New York City unlike it hasn't been changed in 100 years. It will never be recognized again. This is literally like the last battle. You've got to tell every person you know. They've got to call up. They've got to email. I am going to give you Eric Adams' phone number. He may not like it, but I think that, yeah, I'm going to bring it up on my phone. I really think that you should, everyone should call and everyone should text him.
Call him now.
He won't answer. But I'm going to say this again later. Eric Adams, you can text him at 917-909-2288. 917-909-2288. That's directly to Eric Adams. When you leave here today, I will stay and give it out again. You can text him. I will also give out the speaker's phone number for you to text. Since you're all holding signs, I'll wait on it. So let me go to the important thing. What's the last thing to remember? The last thing to remember is, again, this is the big lie. This is like trickle-down economics, the top 1%. Who's the top 1% in New York? The developers. The rest of us are going to get squat. As we say in Brooklyn, gots. You're going to get nothing, okay? If you think you're going to benefit wherever you live from this, it's the big lie. If you're a young person, you moved there from Ohio, Cincinnati, Montana, someplace in the Midwest, I don't care where you came from, and you think, oh my God, New York is so crowded. We don't have enough housing. Well, guess what? There's plenty of empty housing. And if we want to build more, they can build it right now. They do not have to open the floodgates to everything. Infrastructure. A couple of people spoke about it. They're right. We have a big problem with our electrical grid. We have a huge problem with being able to flush your toilet in a lot of neighborhoods. This may sound crazy. You start adding all these toilets, where are the people going to flush? I know from South Brooklyn, parts of the Bronx, parts of the Rockaways, parts of other parts in Queens, that people have problems with this. My father-in-law was the head of General Services, retired in '82. He got disgusted. He spent 40 years fighting about water supply. So what are they doing? They're upgrading a big pipe upstate. You must have heard about it on the news if you pay attention. That's good. We want to have clean water. But he said we should have 4 or 5 more of those. We should have 4 or 5 more reservoirs. There's not going to be enough water. You take it for granted in New York City. There's 1.5 to 2 billion people on this planet that are leaving their countries all across parts of Africa and other countries that do not have clean water to drink. They don't have water. We're not going to have water here in New York. You got to plan. They haven't done it. As far as Dan Garodnick, the chair of this insanity, he should be ashamed of himself. He and I've got against himself.
Shame! Shame! Shame!
He is a hypocrite. He doesn't know about this stuff. We fought him at the Small Business Congress, which I'm the executive VP for. We fought him at the New York Main Street Alliance. I'm on their board since '92. He doesn't want to deal with us face to face. But when you hide behind everyone and plan this during COVID, remember, this was done during the years during COVID. We were all home. Now they're shoving it down our throats. If you don't take care of COVID, people die. This is like a COVID virus for city planning. You don't take care of it, we're all going to die. This is very important. People died in their homes, in the basements. They're going to die because they don't have clean water. They're going to die when the electric runs off and Aunt Sissy's little defibrillator doesn't work, or a heart monitor is not working right, or whatever other emergency equipment's going on in hospitals or people's homes. I know this firsthand. Okay, so what do we want to say?
No!
We want to say it everywhere.
No!
In Queens?
No!
Cambria Heights?
No!
That says Westerly. No! All right, Staten Island?
No!
Where I come from in Sheepshead Bay?
No!
Now remember, of course, the Bronx and Queens and Staten Island, New York, everywhere we say?
No!
Okay, remember tomorrow. Tomorrow's the hearing. The council people were correct. You gotta make noise. It's a whole day of your life. After this, if we lose this, I don't know about you, I'm done. But there's no point. I hope I made myself clear. And to the few media people that remained, it's too bad our friends at CBS left. You can tell them the truth. It is the big lie. I'm sick and tired of the lie. Let's have a fair discussion. Let's do this properly. You don't do one size fits all. And as I said at the rallies on the weekend, this is like giving you a size 9 pair of black Nikes, and from now on, everybody in New York has to wear size 9 black Nikes. Don't tell me your feet are too small or too big, or you want heels or you don't like that. No, no. This is saying that's it. You get one size, one brand, one style. That's it. Nothing else. It's the same thing with the zoning. Changing zoning isn't just community by community. It's neighborhood within the community by neighborhood. Because each neighborhood, each change of zoning affects neighbors all around it within that individual community. This is what I've done my whole career. Paul knows this better than me. But this is changing the whole city of New York at the same time and saying, hey, we need more housing. It's a lie. The lie has got to stop, and the media, it's up to you at this last 11th hour to help us. This is the biggest lie ever. We don't want people to live in the street. We care about people. We're sensitive, caring Americans here. We want people to have affordable housing. We don't want Ripley to build whatever the hell they want. We want fairness. We want honesty. And we want comprehensive thought. This is illegal. I hope there's a lawyer out there, because I can't do it anymore. They should take them to court. They haven't done the proper environmental review. They should tie them up for 10 years. This is absolutely wrong. And the thing that bothers me most is when you lie to the people of New York City. Okay? So tomorrow we're all going to say? No! We're going to say? No! What are we going to say? No! I can't hear you. What are we going to say? No! One more time? No! Thank you.
Thank you, Steve.
Follow the money! Follow the
We're almost
payoffs!
done. We're almost done. I'm going to ask two more civics to come up very quick. 1 minute each, please. Claudia Valentino from the Forest Hills Civic and Community Association.
Forest Hills Community and Civic Association is 100 years old. We have been taking care of our neighborhood, which stretches in a number of different directions for 100 years, including doing our own down zoning about 22 years ago to protect our infrastructure. That is all it was about. These plans come from places like Oregon and California. It's off the drawing boards out there where property sizes and lots for 1 and 2 family homes are much, much bigger. If they want to go accommodate an ADU back there and they have the space to build and dig all the sewer and electrical lines, that's their choice. New York is different. This whole thing has been handled in the abstract. People do not understand that we are a driveway apart, no matter how big our house is. If you have a big house, you are sited a little further back to have that fancy view, but you have this much space in the back for your garbage can. If you have the less expensive house, like I do, we're moved all the way to the curb because people like us aren't supposed to be able to afford AC, and so we're supposed to hang out in the back. There is no space for any of us. Don't listen to the fantasy version of what a 1 and 2 family home is. 1 and 2 family here in New York, and lot sizes are tiny. And that is why this is unacceptable. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Claudia. Hold on. We have Deanna. Thank you. Deanna's from Ridgewood Property and Homeowners Association.
Hi. I'm here to speak as a resident of Ridgewood for the Ridgewood Property Owners Civic Association and thousands of residents in my community that firmly oppose the City of Yes agenda. I previously testified before the council in May and again in August before Queensborough President Donovan Richards, where I outlined why this agenda will have irreversible and devastating effects on my neighborhood and much of our great city. Now, the City of Yes agenda was designed by developers for developers. It's a plan driven by Mayor Andre Deitman, who seeks to repay his most powerful donors in the development industry. Let's look at the facts. Since the pandemic, the city has experienced a mass exodus, losing over 800,000 residents, returning us to the same population levels as the 1960s. Many residential buildings and commercial offices across neighborhoods now have over 30% vacancy rates. Why then does my neighborhood and others like it need 500+% increase in density? Our infrastructure is outdated and crumbling. The city is already struggling to maintain it. Who will regulate this flow of new units? Developers have no interest in building affordable housing because it cuts into their profits. And who will ensure that these new apartments and businesses meet fire safety and compliance standards when they're already so far behind in addressing these needs? We are 30 years behind in infrastructure updates. If this plan moves forward, we will be dragged down to conditions resembling 19th century. The environmental consequences alone will be disastrous. Since 1960, over 800,000 units have been added to the city's inventory. Department of Buildings has approved another 150,000 units this year alone. The reality is that the current zoning, even without changes, can accommodate, as the way things are, 16 to 20 million people. Why hand over our neighborhoods to developers on silver platter? The problem is not lacking housing, it's affordability. Most developments are market rate of luxury or luxuries, far beyond the reach of everyday New Yorkers. These projects cater to wealthy outsiders, pushing long-term residents and working families out of their neighborhoods instead of addressing the city's true housing crisis. The need for affordable housing. Developers are focusing on maximizing profits while those who have built their lives here are priced out and displaced. The city of Yes takes away the rights of residents and undermines democracy. It is affront to the very people who live in these neighborhoods. The city of Yes is not progress. It's a betrayal of the very people the council members and the local politicians were sworn to represent by a mayor under investigation for the same matters. This is the opportunity for the city council to act with integrity, to stand up for residents who depend on them, and to say no to a plan that threatens the fabric of New York City.
Thank you. Thank you. And last but not least, Tony Nunziato, the president of the Juniper Park Civic Association.
Tony! Tony!
Thank you, everybody. Everybody said everything that's the right message. So we know that. All I can tell you is that I represent the largest civic association in New York, the Juniper Park Civic Association. Over 6,000 families. What we're blessed is that we have Councilman Robert Holden as our councilman.
Yeah!
I advise everybody to go find out who your council person is and put it to them. You know, back in the days of Lincoln, they had a Gettysburg Address. Of the people, by the people, for the people. They're changing it, of the people, by the people, for the developers. This is not for the people. Over behind us is a wonderful garden. It says, protect our native plants. How about protect our native homes? You know, and that's the skeletal remains of something. That will be New York if we don't have people protecting the houses that we live in. So please go out there, and if you look at elected officials, where they live, Chuck Schumer, a high riser, Jumaane Williams, Fort Hamilton. Let's look out where they live and that they're not affected. Governor Hochul in a mansion with security guards. You know, it's nice that we're the peasants of New York, but we got to make sure our voices are heard. My family came over in 1910. We fought for everything. My family fought in every war. And we want to make sure that we have the right to have an individual family home, and that's what is our bread and butter, and that's what the American dream is. Let us not take the dream away. Make sure we all have to fight, keep on going, because it's a disgrace what they're doing right now to us, and we have to make sure they represent us. That's who we put into power. So go back. And I want to tell you something. You know an oxymoron? Does everybody know what an oxymoron is? Jumbo shrimp. Jumbo shrimp. The oxymoron here is city planning. It should be called city scamming. Because they're not looking out for the people. Even the dumbest manager of a brand new hotel knows no vacancy. When you're full, you're full. Or come in a little bit. Like Councilman Robert Holden said, last year when we had the storm, or 2 years ago, someone had an illegal basement in our town. And the water came in so ferociously. Came in through the bottom windows. It locked the door for them to escape. So the husband and the wife and a baby drowned. The fire department had to wait 8 hours for the water to recede to shut off the electrical power so they didn't get killed. Is this what we're looking for? An unsafe New York? We have all our blood here. We all came here legally. Let's all get what we deserve. Make your elected officials work for you. Like Robert Holden and Joanne Ariola and Vicky Palladino, they're working for us. Press your people so they all work for us. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Tony. So to conclude, very briefly conclude, I want to make this clear again. We are homeowners. We are tenants. We live in low-density neighborhoods. We live in high-density neighborhoods. We're Republicans, we're Democrats, we're Independents, we're Martians. It doesn't matter. We are people who live in the city who are very, 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 very concerned that if this goes through, our city is done. And that's why we're here. And thank you, everybody, for coming. I just want to say one more thing, briefly. Tomorrow, if you have not signed up to speak already, go to the City Council website. Register. Register to speak. If you can make it in person, make it in person. If you can't, go on Zoom. Get your 2 minutes. They're expecting the hearing to go for as long as the hearing in July. 15 hours. Just be aware. Wait if you're not here. If you are here, make noise. If you're not here, make sure you tell the City Council exactly how you feel, and that it's very clear that the city of Yes is a city of mess, a city of stress, a city of BS, whatever you want to call it. We have to stop this thing. Thank you.